481,629. That is precisely how many video essays there are on YouTube about The Dark Knight.
What else would you expect? It's one of the most frequently discussed movies ever made. But there's a certain movie that gets such a surprisingly little amount of attention here on YouTube, despite probably being just as good, if not better, than The Dark Knight. That film is Rango. Rango is a movie that is amazing for many reasons. The score, the humor, the animation and character design, the action. But we're not here to talk about that. Today, we're talking about purpose, how we find it, and what we are meant to do with it. Let me ask you this. What is your purpose? You might say any number of things, but one thing that unites all those answers is what influences them. Humans aren't just given purpose. We create it for ourselves, and it helps to guide us through life. But there might be some of you who aren't sure how to answer the question of what your purpose is, and I guarantee that most people have also felt similarly. Well, this is where the movie Rango comes in. Rango is a movie about purpose. It's about fulfilling our role in the world, being the hero of our own story instead of trying to walk out on it. It's not just about purpose. Some would argue that fulfilling purpose is a moral obligation. The purpose we select for ourselves should be about helping others and being a moral individual, not for self-gain or admiration. And I can't think of a better way to explain this philosophy than with Rango. The beginning of the film presents us with a character who both literally and figuratively changes who and what he is. Rango is a chameleon, capable of transforming himself into anything he wants. At the same time, Rango doesn't really have a character.
I could be anyone.
And he seems to see this as a positive, but this is a movie with a 3-act structure, so...
What our story needs is an ironic, unexpected event that will propel the hero into conflict!
Through Rango's journey in the desert and his first time meeting a member of the town, it's clear that he doesn't really fit in. So Rango does exactly what he would do. He tries to blend in. And unfortunately, it doesn't go very well. Why? We'll get to that. But let's get to what is one of my favorite movie scenes ever. The saloon. This scene is a turning point for our main character, where he will make a choice that closes the door on the world behind him as he journeys further into the new world he has found. He invents a character for this new world. He pretends to be this legendary gunslinger from the far west, and luckily he's encountered a town that is looking for something to put their hope into. But the issue is, he only pretends to be this character. He's not a gunslinger, and the audience is well aware of this. It sets the stakes fairly high, and it keeps the tension throughout the entire film. I won't go into detail about most of the middle of the film, but I might make a much more in-depth analysis on this film at some point, because there is a lot worth talking about. But think about why he does this. It's for him. He wants admiration from these people. He doesn't yet have any way to give them hope or save their town, so it's fair to say he still hasn't exactly found his purpose. But after sort of accidentally killing the bird that's been terrorizing the town for a while, Rango has lived up to the name he invented for himself. He's a hero now, a beacon of hope. Something the people of Dirt can believe in. Rango is still only pretending to be a sheriff. He doesn't know what he's doing, which most of the time actually causes quite a few problems. But because he's still this symbol of hope to the people, he has a responsibility. But Rango doesn't try to become better or try to understand how to fulfill this role. He just goes deeper into the act. After a series of obstacles that are not overcome, people begin to lose hope. The town has been starved of water for too long, and Rango, their only hope, hasn't been able to find any solution. He failed to rescue the stolen water reserve from the bandits. Some people are beginning to go missing. People are starting to lose hope. Rango tells them that as long as the sheriff's sign hangs up there, they have something to believe in. Rattlesnake Jake is extremely important to Rango's character. Only he is responsible for revealing Rango's true identity, or lack thereof. When he destroys the sign, he destroys that artificial hope that Rango had placed in it. And Rango is defeated. because he was only pretending to have purpose. He wasn't even doing it for the right reasons. He just wanted to fit in. He wanted to be admired by his friends. The Spirit of the West is an interesting character to me. He seems to be aware of all the events going on in the movie. And while a lot of people might see him as a projection of Rango's indecision, and then his ability to overcome that decision, if you take into consideration the meta-commentary present in the film, of which there is quite a lot, you could almost see him as possibly the writer, pushing the character towards the right direction. I used to see the Spirit of the West as a bit of an ex machina, a literal godlike figure coming down to tell our character exactly what they need to do to get what they need. But after the number of times that I've seen this movie, my perspective on this character has changed tremendously. A search for purpose is complicated, but rarely does it come from within ourselves. We can't inherently create our own purpose. There is always a drive, always some influence that guides us to where we want to go in life. Something we connect with, something we can see and understand as the reason life is worth living, as the reason to keep going, to keep accomplishing our own goals, to establish our own meaning. Trying to find this within ourselves just isn't possible. We have to look to the world around us to see our place in it. In other words,
you came a long way to find something that isn't out here.
We all see what we need to see. And even if it were possible to find our purpose within ourselves, there's also a reason why we have to look to the world around us. Because otherwise, how would we be able to understand the obligations that we have in fulfilling a purpose? In this one confrontation here, Rango learns that it's not about blending in. It's not about gaining admiration. It's about finding his place. It's about serving this purpose, not for the needs of himself, but for the needs of the people around him.
Don't you see? It's not about you. It's about them. No man can walk out on his own story.
I really wish this movie got more attention than it does. Something about it is just so distinct from so many other animated films. Rango doesn't just succeed at presenting the theme of purpose, it excels and inspires us to find our own purpose, one that we don't just fulfill for ourselves, but for the world that we inhabit. Thanks for watching. See you next time.